Hi, high schoolers. This is your librarian, Mrs. Bonham, here for another video book talk. So, how many of you, let's be honest, used to or still watch the Disney Channel? Be honest, you know you have. And the shows that you watch and the movies that you watch all have the same theme. Know who you are. Shoot for the stars. Don't worry about what anyone thinks about you, right? Cheesy Disney themes? Well, unfortunately, a lot of the books that you read as teenagers also have that same theme. Don't you get tired of reading books with the same theme for teenagers? So what I'm here to do today is to tell you about 3 books that you should pick up that don't have that same theme. These themes are really thought-provoking. They're ones that you can talk to your friends about. And I promise you, all 3 books you will never forget. The first one that I recommend is called Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. This book has won over 10 awards. And if you look inside, you can see that a lot of it's written as free verse. So it's a really quick read. Jason Reynolds is also known for using very figurative language that has wonderful imagery. And as you read it, you'll feel like you're just flowing with the story, and that he helps you really understand the characters. So, Long Way Down is about a 15-year-old boy named Will. Will lives in a neighborhood with his brother. It's a pretty rough neighborhood. And then in the beginning of the book, Will's brother gets shot and killed by a neighboring gang. Well, there are rules in the street of this neighborhood. And I'm going to read you one of those rules. Number 3, revenge. If someone you love gets killed, find the person who killed them and kill them. Will has never done any violence before, but he knows he has to follow that rule, and he wants to get revenge for his brother. So he grabs a gun from his brother's top drawer, and he starts on the top floor, which is the 8th floor. And as you can see on the cover, most of the book is spent in the elevator. Now, something strange happens to Will when he's on the elevator. Every time he goes to a new floor, a ghost gets on the elevator. These are people that lived in his neighborhood that Will either knew or that he knew of, and they all have something in common. They were all killed by gun violence. So as they're going down, Will is hearing their stories and trying to think and reflect on how that rule of revenge applies to their lives. So when he gets off the elevator, Will has a choice to make. Is he going to carry out his brother's revenge? Of course, I'm not going to ruin it for you. You need to read it for yourself. But it's a theme that'll make you think and have wonderful discussions. So don't forget to pick up Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. The second book that I have to recommend to you is called The 57 Bus by Dashka Slater. Now, these books are not similar, and they're not even the same genres. So this is a nonfiction book. And in this book, there's opposing viewpoints. One of them is Sasha. Sasha is a 17-year-old teenager who is born a boy, but he prefers to not be identified as either. And that term is called non-binary. So Sasha wears clothes that a boy or a girl could wear. So Sasha goes to school every day on the same bus, the 57 bus. And one day, Sasha is wearing a plaid tartan skirt, which is kind of like a wool material. And this is important later. Richard is the other viewpoint that you hear a lot from in the story. And Richard is another teenager. He gets on the bus with his friends, and they're messing around, they're talking, they're laughing. Richard and his friends have been known to get in trouble before. Now, they see Sasha on the back of the bus, and Sasha's asleep. And they go back there and they start daring each other. Man, you have a lighter. You should light his skirt on fire, because they see that Sasha's a boy wearing a skirt, and so they automatically want to make fun of him. So Richard listens to his friends, takes his lighter, lights it, and drops it on Sasha's skirt. Well, the problem with that is the material, like I said, is wool, and it's very flammable. So Sasha's entire skirt lights on fire like that. Richard and his friends see what they did, and they run off the bus with the skirt still on fire. Other people run back to Sasha to help them. Sasha ends up having to go to the hospital with third-degree burns. What I love about this story is that this is really a story about two teenagers who make decisions. They're not the best decisions. In fact, the 57 bus, that incident, doesn't happen till about halfway through the story. So the whole beginning part of the book, you go back and forth between those viewpoints, just learning about them, learning about Richard and his family, and Sasha and their family, and how they're both people that are just trying to live life the best way that they can. And after this incident happened, it's one decision that changes the rest of Richard's life. This book is a very heartfelt book about the decisions that Sasha makes and the decisions that Richard makes and that his family make. And the end has a powerful message. This book will really stick with you for a long time. The 57 Bus by Dashka Slater. The third book that I want to recommend to you is called A Monster Calls, and it's by Patrick Ness. This is the first book ever to win both the Carnegie Medal for Literature and the Kate Greenway Medal for Illustration. Look at that beautiful cover on the front. There are beautiful illustrations throughout the whole book. I'm going to show you one of them in just a minute. So A Monster Calls is about a young teenage boy named Connor. Connor lives in England with his mom, and Connor's mom is very sick. It doesn't say in the book that she has cancer, but it does say that she receives treatments, that she's bald, that she's very tired all the time, that she takes medication. Connor feels very alone because his father lives in America, in California even, with his new wife and his new family, so he doesn't see his dad very much. At school, Connor is also dealing with a bully that unfortunately knows about Connor's mom and being sick, and it still doesn't affect him from treating him poorly. So Connor starts wishing, help my mom get better, help my mom get better. One night at 2 a.m., a monster appears at his door, and I'm going to show you a picture. The monster comes from a yew tree, which is a giant tree in his backyard that's gnarled and giant and old. And the monster comes to his window at 2 a.m. Connor's not very scared of the monster, and he's asking him why he's there. The monster keeps coming back over and over, telling Connor stories about the past and how he's helped people in the past. Well, Connor gets excited because he thinks that the monster is there to help his mother live. And as it goes through this story, the stories that the monster tells affect Connor through the daytime. The lesson that he's learned, he applies them to his own life. And as the story unfolds and you learn more about the monster and you learn more about Connor, you realize maybe that's not why the monster's there. So the end of the book has a very powerful story about the mother and the monster and Connor. The monster does end up teaching someone a lesson, teaches Connor a lot. And the theme is very clear to the reader. And again, it's not a theme like just be happy and be yourself. It's a very thought-provoking theme. So, pick up from your local library A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. So one more time, so you don't forget. We have Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, The 57 Bus by Dashka Slater, A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Pick these up from your local library, and these books and ideas and themes in the book will change your life and maybe the way that you see yourself and others. I'm Miss Bonham, signing out. Hope to see you in the library.